But again, Campbell, I mean, I sort of pivot back to where I think you and I at one point or a time have said this in one version of another every week. But that doesn't mean it's still not as good an idea as the first time we talked about it. If you run an industry association, stop writing polite letters, put signs in your window. Yeah. If you're a Melbourne citizen, get together and find a few $100s that can turn into a few $1,000s to print some stickers and put them on your auto bin. Because all we get is one simple message, which is, unless you agree, you are part of the problem. Yet, an awful lot of normal people who stop you in the street or stop you, Tina, in the street or are watching us right now, and we're the #1 show on Sky News, have been all week. That is for a reason, right?
Just to go back, yeah. Well, Paul, to go back to the gentleman, the publican before from, was it Bendigo?
Yeah.
I mean, terrific bloke, feel for him immensely and his fellow publicans. But I just had one feeling as I listened to the gentleman. He's got to get tougher. Don't be nice. You're not dealing with a nice bloke. You're dealing with an ocean-going, roll goal, blue hot water class, absolute bastard of a premier.
Yep.
And I don't mind saying that. I've had enough of Dan Andrews. I mean, he is an odious individual. And, I think Victorians have got to find a way to be heard and protest in the way you just said. It's imperative because, the economy is being burnt to the ground. It's the worst example. I mean, it's by the way, just to remind people who do watch this show, I've been incredibly critical about Liberal premiers as well. This transcends political parties. I'm just talking about Andrews from the point of view his job as premier.
Mate, you whacked the PM
I'm infuriated with all of them. Well, look. PM,
I'm saying it as a compliment.
The PM should have fought the border, the constitutional issue that Rosemary just said. He should have fought it. Shame on him for not seeing that to the end. Why does it take Clive Palmer to do that? And I'm no friend of Clive's, as people know. I mean, I could go on. Look, Tina needs to have a go here, mate. But it's just people have got to step up to the plate, muscle up, not just in Victoria, but in Queensland. Stop being nice industry associations. They're not listening to you. They don't give two hoots. You've got to get pointed. You've got to get real. You've got to take it to the community. For example, take Alan Joyce. He had a bit of a go the other day. I'll pay that. But how about Alan Joyce and the unions in Qantas and the employers of Qantas start saying, if you want an airline that's still around in a year's time, you better do something about these lockdowns and get travel domestically going and tourism going, because the airline will be crippled. But it might even disappear.
But exactly right. So as we've discussed before, right, Tina, in Queensland, Western Australia has copied this. It's exactly the same rule. There is a limit on how much a political party can spend. However, unions are third parties that, once collectively get together, are able to spend 10 times more than any one political party in one area. So they have the clout. They theoretically represent the workers who are out of the jobs because of the decisions of their side of politics. Yet for some reason, there is no collective, let's get back into it, let's fire up. Like, we all understand that Melbourne can't play with the rest of the country. We understand the bits of Sydney that can't play with the rest of the country. But the idea that again, the mining workers that are locked in Western Australia or the tourism operators in North Queensland, and the fact that the joint sort of loses it over the shiny bauble of a football game the weekend before the Queensland election. The hypocrisy, the hypocrisy of, the mum of the sick baby can't come in, but 400 people from the AFL can hang out at a resort and call it quarantine for 2 weeks.
It's disgraceful, Paul, for the Premier and other AFL representatives to stand there with the trophy and gloat about it. It's absolutely disgraceful. Look, Campbell's absolutely right. Everyone has to get angry. I think we're so battered down, and don't be defeated. You've got to rise up. You've got to fight back. Look, there's examples in New South...
And by that, we're not talking, by the way, about illegal revolutions, in case Channel 2's trying to take notes and go, there she is, there's Tina firing everything out up
One
on
of their favourites.
Sky News, all that shit.
But, Paul, look, at Double Bay and Potts Point on weekends, these markets You cannot move with those markets, buskers, all that. You can't, and these poor buggers have got wedding venues, all of them out west, with all the cultural weddings, can't do a thing. They're on their knees. They're bleeding.